A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms completely robbed us in 37 minutes of this unexpected moment from the book. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms has shown what a book-accurate adaptation can look like, but it cannot be exact. The series adapts the first story in George R.R. Martin's Tales of Dunk and Egg with only a handful of minor changes to the original version. Though it isn't as expansive as Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, HBO's latest spin-off has earned a well-respected place within the franchise. Yet, as Season 1 approaches its end, the series left out one of the most significant and horrific book scenes. Season 1 details the events of the Ashford Tourney, which goes from a seemingly routine gathering to a history-shaping event, all because of the unlikely hero, Sir Duncan the Tall, Peter Claffey. However, a large part of that is due to Baelor Targaryen's, Bertie Carvel, death, and a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms didn't let the audience see that fight. Episode 5, In the Name of the Mother, reaches the Trial of Seven, picking up just after Baelor volunteers as a champion. Yet the battle is laser-focused on Dunk, depriving the audience of a gory and emotional confrontation as one brother attacks the other. The Trial of Seven is what a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms has been building to, as Dunk proves his innocence. And that is what Episode 5 centers on. Yet as the 14 combatants fight, only 2 get any significant screen time. Dunk and Arianne, Finn Bennett. These two have a bloody fight that leads to Dunk's victory, and it makes sense that they are the focus, as the drama has been between them. This continues a trend that Dunk has always been the show's undeniable focus. The franchise rarely has a distinct lead, but A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms does, and as Carvel explains, we very much stay with Dunk, and so I guess you see that sequence through Dunk's eyes. Yet, Episode 4 was all about how Dunk needed champions, so it's an odd choice that they don't really factor into the fight, especially given what happens to Baelor. Baelor's death comes as a surprise in the final moments of Episode 5, as he goes from seemingly fine to collapsing in Dunk's arms, after he removes his helmet to reveal a lethal wound to his head. This tragedy is a central part of the series, but the audience doesn't get to see Baelor and Maekar's, Sam Spruill, fight at all. In fact, the episode has to explain that the damage to his helmet came from Maekar's mace, because otherwise viewers wouldn't have known. Yet, this plays out somewhat differently in Martin's novella. While it is still from Dunk's perspective, the novella includes descriptions of him looking around and seeing the other skirmishes on the field, including one where Maekar fights Baelor and Lyanna, Daniel Ings, which specifically mentions their weapons ringing against helm and shield, in the moments between Arianne yielding and the trial's official end. Though subtle, this gives a glimpse of what Maekar and Baelor's fight looks like, and establishes when the hit must have occurred. Meanwhile, in a blink and you'll miss it moment, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms shows what might be this fight, but it's hard to tell in the fog. Clearly, this actor has the ability to embody authority without menace. HBO's choice to cut their battle may have preserved the emphasis on Dunk, but it deprives the audience of an epic fight between two experienced warriors. Baelor and Maekar are not just brothers, but heroes of the Blackfire Rebellion, praised for their military accomplishments. Therefore, their fight could have included both skill and emotion if only the fans had actually gotten to see it. Perhaps A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms left his confrontation out to emphasize the shock when Baelor falls, but his death would still be tragic if it were less sudden, especially as it has lasting ramifications on the realm. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms largely feels separate from the grander series where the fate of Westeros hangs in the balance, but the moment when Baelor receives a lethal wound changes the course of the Seven Kingdoms' history. Many Targaryens are not fit for the throne, but Baelor was, and because he died fighting for Dunk, he never had the chance to rule. If Baelor did rule, it's hard to say how Westeros' history would change exactly, but considering Aerys, the Mad King, isn't from Baelor's line, the events of Game of Thrones may never have taken place. Ultimately, Baelor's death is one of the most significant moments in A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and it deserves much more focus than it receives. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is streaming on HBO Max with new episodes on Sundays.